Today, my guest is John van Zyl from Melting Pot, right? And on the drive here, my daughter asked me why you called it Melting Pot, so we'll get into that.
Okay.
But welcome to the show. Thanks for chatting to me.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I only ever ate your food once, and that is becoming a problem because there's so many places opening now, and there's so many people to speak to. And I remember when you had a pop-up in Whale Street above Honest Chocolate.
Not quite the pop-up, but the restaurant following.
The restaurant following the pop-up, because you were around the corner originally, right?
Yes.
Anyway, we'll get into all of that stuff. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for chatting to me. And we need to start with, we've got this kind of formula that we do for the show now. How did you find your way into kitchens? What made you pick up a spatula? How do you find yourself being a chef?
I don't think towards the end of high school, grade 10, 11, 12, I didn't really have a cooking clue what I wanted to do.
Plan. Yeah.
So I was quite a big sports person in swimming. So that was kind of one direction I could have gone into, and I played a lot of drums in bands and things.
Really?
So after school, with injuries and stuff, the swimming thing was kind of put on ice.
Yeah.
And pretty much what I wanted to do is play in bands. And I think my parents were kind of like, you're not going to just,
Drum your way through
sit
life.
here under our roof and just, go drinking and playing bands for the first couple of years of your early 20s. So there was kind of a bit of a push from my mom's side to go into cooking. I've always liked food. I was always interested in it. I didn't really think it was going to be a career for me. So
I mean, that's an interesting thing. I mean, was your mom into food? Because, okay, you can't swim for a career, be a cook. I don't see that. I don't see that connection.
No, I think I think food was a big part of growing up. Not only my parents directly, but also their parents, my grandparents and so on. So food's always been a big thing from my dad's side of the family as well as my mom's, and completely different. My dad's coming from a German background.
Okay.
He's always talking about how his gran was, so my great-gran, his gran was an amazing cook. And that's like childhood memories for him.
Yeah.
And the same with my mom's side. My mom's an incredible cook. Her mom was as well. So yeah, it's always kind of been there, and food being a highlight or like a weekend thing, So
And I mean, I think that from what I understand about the melting pot, the whole kind of communal gathering, fun, warmth around a table thing is very big for you, isn't it? So was that a thing in your home when you're growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always meals around the table, or at least once dinners for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that kind of answers your question. I didn't really know I wanted to become a chef.
Yeah.
And even when going to ICA chef school, I was still reluctant. I was kind of like,
maybe not. Yeah. And is that where you went? You went to ICA. That's in Stellenbosch, right?
Yes.
Okay. Which campus was it on then? Was it Speed?
Yeah. We started like the whole of my schooling career. We were kind of like the guinea pigs for all the new systems. Same with ICA. We started at Spear and finished at the new campus in Van Hook.
In Van Hook. Yeah. Okay.
That was a great experience. I did the shortest course possible, knowing my kind of thinking at the time.
But I mean, to some degree, like getting a chef qualification is a bit like getting a driver's license. Just because you got that paper doesn't mean you can actually chef, right?
100%.
You know how to cook, like roast a duck or something, but do you actually know how to run a restaurant? Where did that thing come from for you? Did you suddenly there was a moment where you thought, oh, I could do this. I'm going to love this, or did that take a while to grow?
No, it took a while.
Is it?
Yeah, because as you rightfully said, I'm not going to discredit chef schools. I think for me, I was careless and 19 and not really invested.
Okay.
So I didn't take much from it.
Okay.
But I suppose if you fully invested and fully committed, you're going to take a lot from it, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. For me, it was even through chef school, I was kind of like, whatever, just want to play in bands and this is what I want to do. Until I fell into Liam's lap at Chef's Warehouse. That's kind of where the penny dropped, because
okay.
And he even told me, because maybe because he didn't go to chef school, but when I started with him, he's like, forget everything you know up to this point, blank canvas from today.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I really, really learned and trained.
Was it just hours in the kitchen prepping, or was there a moment when you went, you can do this, or I could do this? How did that work for you?
I think what I enjoyed about working for Liam is that it's kind of how I operate now as well. With food, there isn't much. I always tell my guys, like, I don't do gray areas. It's either right or wrong. And that's very much what Liam was like. He showed me the processes correctly, well, according to him, right? But it was very much like, this is how you do things, and there's no other kind of shortcut way. It's really proper, or it's not done at all, kind of thing. So, and I think I enjoyed that discipline kind of, you do a full job or just
Don't
rather
bother.
do it. Don't do it at all.
And I know as well from some of the background reading I've done is that you took some time and went traveling, right? In Southeast Asia?
Well, in
Sort of?
different trips, different places. So
Okay.
my first kind of big trip was actually in Central America. That's after working for Liam for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay. So you did some traveling. You got a wealth of experience working in kitchens with Liam. At what point did you think, I'm going to open a restaurant?
After Tali, I went to work. Well, Sage and I went to look for work together on the yachts.
Okay.
I suppose I followed her there, right? That's what happened.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah.
So she was working on the boats, and I also really wanted to. It was something I've always wanted to do. Starting out as a chef, it was kind of on the back burner. It's good money. I knew that the experience isn't good because you're gonna sit stuck where you are. You know, you're not going to grow in any shape or form.
And you're not going to introduce a new form of haute cuisine to the yachting fraternity. You're just going to cook everyone's spag bol. You know?
So you need to understand that when you step onto these yachts,
Yeah.
you're just there to make a bit of cash, but
Yeah.
like don't expect to become the next best thing.
Yeah.
After trying, and we didn't find work together, so I said I'm going back home, and I was like, you should come too, and I suppose that's what happened. And we were sitting in Betty's Bay at my parents' place, not knowing what to do. And Dennis, the owner of the gin bar, he had that broth shop, marrow broth.
Wow. That was what, 2017, 2018, was it then?
2019.
2019, okay.
So it was quite funny. I mean, this all happened like in the moment, literally. Sage was sitting on the couch and we were mumbling around. Stefan was also there. Stefan was the guy that started that pop-up with us.
Okay.
And we were all kind of chatting, probably drinking a beer, knowing us. None of us had work, and we were kind of like juggling what's next. Sage goes, let's do a pop-up. And I kid you not, in that moment, Dennis messages me and he goes, why don't you do a pop-up at Marrow Broth Bar? Like
Wow.
within 1 minute of Sage
actually
saying
thinking,
that, yeah.
let's do that. So let's just
So
briefly-
that's how it started.
That's okay. So let's
It wasn't
just briefly-
intentional. It just
Briefly
happened.
touch on the partnership that we're talking about here, because it's you and Sage, and you've been together for
Quite young at that stage. We had, I think, maybe 2 years.
okay, and it's always been the two of you from the beginning of the pop-up.
Yes.
Sage was hosting, you were cooking,
Yes.
and that's
And
been
that
the
pop-up also
partnership.
had one of my really good friends. He's like a third generation family friend, more like a brother than anything else. Grew up with him. Sage also gets along really well with him, Stefan, and he was also involved in that first,
Okay.
the first 3 restaurants.
3
right?
restaurants.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only really the end of Oak Valley when he left and did his own thing in Betty's Bay.
Okay.
But yeah, he stuck with us for a while.
We need to talk. I need to talk to him about the Betty's Bay thing, whatever he's
Yes.
doing there. Yeah.
It's very good.
But that moment, okay, like the stars aligned. Sage said pop up, and the phone went, do a pop up here at the broth bar. How did it progress from there? I mean, did you go, okay, we're gonna cook pasta? How did you kind of go, okay, what are we gonna do and what's gonna be interesting?
So back to Liam, when I started working for him, he was really well traveled, or is really well traveled throughout his career. So
Yeah.
I was always asking, and he was always telling stories about food and travel. And, I would say, what's the best food market you've ever been to? And he'd say Marrakesh food market, or best street food. And he'd say Vietnam. So I really started to build up this really like big itch for travel. I had never been.
Right.
You know, so that's kind of how the whole street food travel thing started.
Okay.
And that's what I was working towards. I mean, chefs at that stage, I wasn't earning a lot of money at all. So it took a really long time to save up the bucks to do my first trip.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm veering off topic a bit. So the concept, I also started this thing with Liam below Bree Street. There was this thing called
Oh,
street food
underneath
on
that
Bree.
building, street food. Was that you? You were in that
Yes,
kitchen?
yes.
I ate there a couple of times. All right.
So that was kind of he offered me, like, would you like to do this thing downstairs? I wasn't really,
It didn't really kick though, because it was a bit of an awkward space, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and it must have been really difficult to like prep and get food in there. And you were doing that, and wasn't Jason Cosmos in the kitchen upstairs
Yes.
while you were there? That's right. Okay.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's kind of where it started with the
Street food
street
thing.
foodie stuff.
Yeah.
And just kind of doing my own thing and experimenting. This is what's on the menu today, and like, let's do a lamb kebab, and let's try a tandoori chicken sandwich, or whatever it was. So I started to play, and then that was kind of the first, to answer your question, but coming back to let's start the melting pot, that was kind of the knee-jerk reaction, right? So let's start a shop. What's it going to be? The closest thing to my own thing I've ever done was street food on Brie.
Street food on Brie, yeah.
And that's what I'm really into, is the whole travel street food thing.
Right.
So yeah, that's how the melting pot was born.
And that's hence the name, because it's a melting pot of a whole lot of different cultures, but a
Yeah.
whole lot of different experiences that you've had cooking and traveling, right?
Yeah.
You know,
And it ties in more than just the food. It's also, Sage and I, we don't like being stuck into like, let's just cook Italian pasta. Let's just make pizza. We want to be able to do whatever we want. So
well, the thing is that I often talk to people on the show about how the minute you open a restaurant, write down a menu, the creativity goes out of cooking, because you end up just prepping for the same sheet of ingredients, the same list of recipe items all the time. So, you know, it's this endless cycle of kind of clean down, prep up, service, and it's always the same stuff. So when you get to do a pop-up, when you do something as exciting as what you do with your restaurant, you get to constantly change stuff because you're experimenting and finding new flavors. That's what I love so much about the Chef's Warehouse concept. That's why Ivor Jones at Boak and Stancher, he's a genius. And those sorts of setups where the menu is constantly shifting allows chefs to be creative. So you kind of seem to have chosen a path that allowed you to constantly create.
Yeah.
Would that be accurate?
yeah, it's true. I wanted to stop you in your tracks on a couple of points there. It's 100% right what you're saying in terms of creativity and having this open canvas. You know, we can go from a pot sticker to a lamb shawarma to whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But there also comes these points in the process where, you know, all of a sudden now we've opened a restaurant. We were just a pop-up, and before you know it, now we have 25 staff members and a lot of other pressures and things come into play. And then you do sit in a position, I've been there now, where I do feel like I've just hit a wall and we haven't created new dishes in a while, because it's, you know, it
Because
becomes
the
tough.
team's trained, and also you've got a gasping public who want that thing. And
Yeah.
if you take that thing off, and I was going to mention it. So when the only time I ever ate, when you were in the Whale Street spot upstairs above Honest Chocolate,
Yes.
it's the first time I ever ate KFC, the Korean fried chicken. There must be a point at which you've got a regular clientele, I would have been that person, who won't let you take KFC off the menu, or who won't let you take this bao off the menu, or whatever the case may be. And also, as you say, you've got a team of 25 people you've got to feed, and they know how to prep this. So if the machine is going to work, you need to try to stay in a lane or two, right?
Yeah.
Do you have to stay in the lane? Do you try to
I don't
break
think-
out of the lane?
In the beginning, we didn't really. We were just, so right in the beginning, we were changing menus weekly. And
Yeah.
then you kind of get tired and burnt out, and you start changing every 2 weeks. Above Honest Chocolate, we were changing monthly. And Oak Valley, we were changing seasonally. So,
Okay.
you know, 1 or 2 dishes here and there, not like the whole thing.
Okay.
At Honest Chocolate, we were changing the whole menu every 2 weeks
Every
or
2
every
weeks,
month,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So like 7 dishes in and out. and that's exhausting and tiring, but it is also extremely kind of creative, and it gets the juices flowing. But
Yeah.
to answer your question about what people want and do they get upset if you take something off, yeah, here and there. But I think also what it's become is like we've kept what we like on the menu. For instance, like the West Coast mussels now hasn't been off the menu for a long time.
Okay.
Maybe even a couple of years.
Is KFC still on the menu?
It was on the weekend, but it won't be tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's another one that
There's
I want to
another
try.
one coming up. Okay. When you sit down and look at like planning out the menu, okay, if you were to pull something out of your menu, something that's been on the menu often or keeps reappearing, what do you think typifies how you cook, or what like races your boat as a chef?
So, what do I enjoy cooking, kind of thing?
It's a complicated way of saying, what do you enjoy cooking, John?
I do enjoy meat prep, like slow cooks, smoking. I do like that kind of
So
stuff.
like beef ribs and like
Yeah. Beef short ribs, or flat ribs. Nice, like 4 to 6 hour processes. I love slow cooking and smoking pork.
Okay.
At Oak Valley, we actually cooked all our meat on a basic like kettle Weber.
Yeah.
Which is quite funny because as you'd walk around the back, you just see me at the Weber, and then we're serving 120 people for lunch. I don't think it really kind of
The two didn't glue together too well. Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of a short answer, I suppose. But yeah, there's all these processes I like. I like the curing processes, and you can take a piece of flat rib or beef rib and smoke it, and if you treat it properly with the correct cures and the right time, and we smoke it for the same amount of time, but it's all about it's all about the processes, right? So you could end up with 2 completely different products, but actually cooked the same way, starting with the same product, if that makes any sense.
It does, and it's also interesting the sort of pedigree of you as a chef, that journey that you've gone, because coming up with Liam as a sort of a light for you, he apprenticed at a young age into kitchens. He learned the old-fashioned way, the technique. He's like George Jardine's, the same kind of thing. Apprenticed into a kitchen when he was like 16 and very technique driven. He'd still do like chicken, a ballotine of chicken or something like that, just so that his team would learn that. So it sounds to me in that explanation that you're still kind of driven by technique or by the investigation of technique in your cooking, right?
Yeah, that's another good point. I think I like diving into, like, if we're going to be doing pot stickers or dim sum, steamed or fried or whatever.
Yeah.
It's always about like researching it quite in depth to get, why is the dough breaking, or what needs to be done to the dough, and what mixture of flours, and it's always a deep dive and then execute.
What was it like operating out of timeout? Because you don't do that anymore. It was just too much. Eh? What was it like?
We were there for 2 years, so from inception. I think my opinion of the market is it's a great, it's a really high level kind of, it's a great international market. I think it's executed really well. And yeah, we were there for 2 years, and when I saw this spot where we're sitting now, it's a big restaurant, it takes a lot of work, and I just thought, being invested in one spot and being focused on one spot instead of spreading myself too thin. Maybe down the line, spread yourself again, but like I just wanted to get an institutional kind of place set up. And hopefully this becomes that.
And also maybe just to stop, because as much as each of the stallholders at Timeout has their individual style, flair, and they're attracting people for different reasons, and you get to do your own thing, you're also part of a machine, right? And there's also like arguing in the back of the shop about like who's taking your bin, or like where your Tupperwares have gone, or whatever the case would be. And do you really need that? Whereas if you've got your own place, not so much, right?
Yeah. There's also the menu there. It's set for pretty much a full year. If you get you can tweak your menus when you want, but it pretty much is just a machine. And I think that also gets to the staff. We were talking about just kind of churning out the same prep every single day.
Yeah.
It gets a lot. Like after 6 months, you're doing, it's the middle of season, the middle of December, you're going to be doing, I forget the numbers now, but like over 300 plates, or I don't know if, I can't remember, but like a lot. You're doing a lot of plates
in a
on the
day.
same, tomorrow the same thing, tomorrow the same thing. So,
And that's that's kind of the hidden drudgery of being a chef, right? And not necessarily being the creative lead or being the entrepreneurial chef who's opened the restaurant, but the guy on the line.
it doesn't feel like that at the moment. I feel pretty stretched, but it's only been a month. So
But listen, you've
with the
only,
idea of streamlining it.
John, I have to say to you that you've only got yourself to blame because, I mean, in the preamble to this chat, I was talking to Sage, and she told me that you guys in the first month have done 3,000 covers. What?
Yeah.
Bit popular?
November's been a bit of a blur, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, there are other people who are saying that season hasn't really taken off, and you're sitting here like with slightly glazed eyes telling me that you've just come through a month of doing 3,000 covers in a month.
It's unreal.
That's unbelievable. Were you open 3 services? Were you breakfast? Okay, that'll contribute.
The majority will, I think it's maybe a quarter goes to lunch and breakfast. The 3/4 still would be for dinner. So our breakfasts were slow. We've actually stopped breakfast now.
Yeah,
which I'm very happy
why?
about.
Why do that? I mean, that is absolutely thumping. What are you seating in the new venue? How many people?
For dinners, we're doing about 90 covers.
Brew, and you pushed 3,000 off 90 seats in a month.
I don't know if it's 90 seats at once. I should probably know these things, but
You probably should.
Sage and Amanda know those things.
Sage is the person who's in charge of that. Yes. Okay.
I just get told
hear
prep
you.
for 100 covers,
Prep for 100 covers.
80
Yeah.
covers. So
Okay.
that's where I'm at the moment. But yeah, let's say we booked on average between like 50 and 70 covers, and then with walk-ins, it would become 70 or 90 covers. So that's been the kind of the norm up to now.
But you've only been now. I know because I've followed and seen, and I've seen on your on your social media when you opened, and there was and someone spoke to me about being at a soft opening and saying it was amazing, can't wait to go. Right, that was a month ago. Right, it's a month later. Ordinarily, the thing you'd want to do is get into a space, feel it out, take 30 covers in, ease into it, try this, see if the deep fat fry is working properly, whatever it is, right? No, you just were racing from the first day.
Yeah, I think we kept bookings for the first week, but I mean, a lot of my staff have been with me for a long time, so it's kind of
they're
like
already up and running.
It was a bit of a plug and play. Okay, also with the
enough.
menu, which we've taken some slack for, a bunch of people have said like old dishes, blah blah blah. But I worked on the menu like 2 days before opening, knowing that I want to open with old dishes that my team knows how to execute, right? So we made it.
Yes,
I tried to make it as simple as possible
for
just
them
to get
to
the doors
achieve.
open.
Yeah.
That was the thinking behind it. So I suppose that's also what made it any easier. If it can get easier.
Yeah.
I mean, starting with a whole new menu, whole new team, it would have been an absolute nightmare.
Sure.
So we try to make things as easy as possible.
Yeah. Okay, I hear you. Well, that's probably pretty sensible. Let's talk about because lots of people talk about you, and they watch you, and they like what you're doing as a chef, and your creativity. Who are you watching? Who are you looking at?
Chef-wise or anyone-wise?
Where's your inspiration coming from at the moment? What are you liking, and who do you think is running a shop in this town? You think, wow, that's clever, or that's good.
You mentioned his name earlier. My favorite chef and a good friend of mine actually is Ivor Jones.
Yeah.
But I told him so many times, to his face, like you're my mate, but also my favorite chef.
Oh, is it?
So yeah, he just nails it in every shape and form.
Completely. Well, no, you know what we should do? We should start just anonymously phoning him and saying, "Ikak." What about that? Because it's ridiculous how good he is. Yeah.
I love his take on food. It's super refined. It comes across, seemingly fine dining, for lack of a better word. I don't
Yeah.
like that term. What does it
Elevated
even
dining.
mean?
I've started to say elevated dining. I prefer that, you know.
But if you take like a closer look, it's simple cooking. It's open, honest cooking, just really refined and really kind of like really thought about, really well executed.
And he's also very, very curious about ingredients. So he really explores ingredients well, which is what I love, you know. That's fantastic. Who else? Can't just have one guiding light in your life as a chef.
Yeah,
not allowed.
it's a tough question, to be honest. I've got I've got 2 babies at home, and
that's a
maybe
tough
my head hasn't been in the game like full on as a young chef. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot
Because there's
else.
family stuff going on that
Yeah.
side, so you don't get out. I mean, listen, we traveled a lot. We lived, and I have a 13-year-old daughter, so we're only really starting to go out again now, you know, and explore places. But there's been like a big gap where I used to go every week. I was in a different restaurant, at least once a week. But now it's kind of went to nothing for a while. Now it's back to one a month, you know.
Yeah, I suppose that's where Sage are now. I mean, you've been there having small kids.
Small
It
kids,
just feels like.
raising them, yeah.
And then now we opened this restaurant on top of all that. You know, it's a lot.
Also, listen, this industry is hardcore, and it's hardcore on family life. And you know those 3,000 covers, you must have been absent from home a lot, hitting those numbers. So Sage was with the little ones, right?
Yeah.
So listen, that's a hard one. Where, having said that,
But to close off that chapter, sorry, I
yes,
think
let's close off that.
let's wrap it up. I think that the city has amazing chefs, like in abundance, right?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it the other day. Not that I've eaten at all these people's places. I'd love to. I'm going to make time to do that. But just like kind of looking from a bird's eye view, we've got some insane talent and
Crazy.
beautiful shops popping up all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of tooting a horn at the moment for Vusi Ndlovu, who's just across here at Edge at Short Market, right? It's the best meal that we've eaten in this city probably in 10 years. My wife and I. It was absolutely astonishing, adventurous. It was just,
What is it? Is it refined? Is it
it's
casual?
refined, but he explores the cooking techniques and the ingredients of Africa, and not just like, you know, around here, so South Africa or Western Cape, Africa. You know, the sauces that he's found in Mozambique or, you know, Senegal or whatever the case.
Lovely.
It's fantastic. And his partner, Upsi, they do a thing like you and Sage do. The other wonderful experience.
Are they there permanently, or is it a pop-up?
It was a pop-up, and they've now taken over there, and they're there more permanently because, listen,
Nice.
they're a couple who were doing pop-ups and moving around and doing catering, doing whatever they could to survive, and they just could never find the capital or the moment or the serendipity to find a venue that they could open up and call their own. And as he said, I mean, I interviewed him just recently. He was talking like a lot of the places where he was trying to get a lease for a restaurant, he was talking to like someone who lives in Hamburg that owns this building that he's trying to, or, you know, so
I had a
difficult.
similar difficulty finding spots because I think also with the landlords just want security, right? So they're looking at like, not obviously, but I think an owner-run restaurant like myself would be a value add to the community instead of another copy-paste kind of restaurant. But the landlords kind of just look at numbers and capital and how much do you have essentially. So they would choose. We don't have to
name anybody,
name
but
any, but
listen,
those
the
kind of
branded shops are opening up everywhere at the moment, and they're stealing all the great prime
So I dealt with the same kind of difficulty.
same kind of problem. Yeah, I mean, so anyway, he got involved with the people at Heritage and Gunther, who owns the Drinkery. One of the partners in the Drinkery, he had Open View as another cocktail bar in the Heritage Square complex, and they said, "Hey, let's do a pop-up." And because it went so well, the conversation started. Listen, don't you want to take this venue over? So that's how they found their way into it, you know. And it's cool. They're fantastic. The other place I've eaten at recently, which I also used to call it my favorite restaurant I've ever eaten at is Belly the Beast. I mean, Neil and Anushka, they're just legends.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. So you're right.
It's a
there are
good
just
point.
so many people. You know,
Yeah, I think they're doing. Back to your initial question of who to watch and what's going on, I think that's a great example of a duo that's kind of like really
pushing the edge,
Yeah,
experimenting, delivering well.
yes,
Yeah,
all those things.
they really are. We need to talk about where your shop is in
Okay.
Devaterkant.
Yes,
Yes.
we haven't spoken about the shop. Yeah, so this was a good find, and it was
It's
kind
an
of
amazing find.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're sitting in this shop in one of the rooms, but there are 2 levels to
Yeah.
it, and you've got a whole like rooftop bar open. So summer's going to absolutely kick off here. It's fantastic.
it is a
coming
nice
down,
location
definitely.
for sure.
It's a beautiful location in Devaterkant. It's easy to get to. You've got quick access for the tourists can walk out of the V&A up here and
Exactly.
find you easily. So that's great. Listen, on that note, John van Zyl, thank you very much for sitting down and chatting with
Yeah,
me
it's a
today.
pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
nice
Yeah,
to
thoroughly
talk to
enjoyed it. Good chat. If you're in the city, book yourself a table in the corner at Melting Pot and come and sample the joy and the beauty that John and Sage have created. Thanks for
Thank
listening.
you. Cheers.